Hi everyone, it's Pandora here, and today I'm just doing my thing where I sit and drink coffee and talk to you about what's on my mind. And today, what's on my mind is hexing and cursing, because this is something that I see come up pretty regularly in a lot of the Facebook groups that I'm on, especially the Australian Witchcraft Facebook group, which is one of the biggest witchcraft groups that I'm on. And props to the admins in that group, by the way, because they do a great job. It is a very busy group. It's very, active. There's a lot of people on it, and they've got their work cut out for them. Like, they have to monitor a lot of posts in that group. But anyway, getting back to the topic, from time to time, you'll see people come in with a question about whether or not they've been hexed or cursed, like how to know whether they've been hexed or cursed and what to do about it. And it's pretty common for people to think or suspect that they've been hexed or cursed. What's not clear to me is how common it actually is. And opinions about this seem to vary quite widely, from it's not common at all for someone to genuinely be hexed or cursed to it's pretty common and it's more common than you might think. And I was listening to an episode of Modern Witch by Devon Hunter. I can't remember which episode, sorry, I couldn't tell you. But he was talking to someone who said, yeah, definitely, like, most of the time, the majority of the time, when someone thinks that they've been hexed or cursed, there is definitely something going on there. And then, you talk to a lot of people who say this is not a really common thing and it's just paranoia and people tend to blow things out of proportion, and it doesn't have any power over you unless you think it does, and things along these lines. So for me, the jury's out. I am quite a skeptical witch. However, the power of the mind is a very powerful thing. And I do think that when people think that they've been hexed or cursed, it can have that effect in their lives where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and things will go wrong because they're kind of going out into the world not as confident and believing that things are not going to go right for them, and so they don't, and things like that, if that makes sense. So yes, the jury is out on that one. However, I want to talk about what to do if you have been hexed or cursed, how to tell if you think you have been hexed or cursed, and some things that you can do about it if you do suspect that you have. So, first of all, has somebody told you that they've hexed or cursed you? Because this is a really good sign. If someone talks to you and they either outright tell you or allude to the fact that they've hexed or cursed you, then that's something to consider. Number two is, does that person actually have the power to hex or curse someone? Because this is pretty important. A lot of the time, the type of people, from my experience, the type of people who go around saying that they've hexed or cursed someone are not necessarily going to be the people that actually have the power to do it. Hexing and cursing, I think, is quite a hard thing to do, and you need to be a really grounded and experienced and successful practitioner who's doing well within yourself and has that power. And the type of people that do have that power generally wouldn't misuse it. And that brings me to my next thing of, have you actually done something to genuinely warrant someone hexing or cursing you? And this could be, have you actually committed a violent act or an assault against them? Have you wronged them genuinely in some way in their lives, such as, cheating with their partner, or their partner cheating with you, or what have you, like cheating on them in a relationship, wronging them in a relationship, getting in their way in some way, like being promoted ahead of them at work or something like that. All of these things could be reasons why someone would hex or curse you. So take that into consideration. Have you actually genuinely done something to wrong this person? Because this is just my opinion, but there's good reasons to curse or hex someone, and there are bad reasons. Like, in my opinion, I'm not ethically or morally against it necessarily, but I do think that there are good reasons and bad reasons to hex or curse someone. A good reason would be abuse, someone genuinely doing something wrong to you willfully and deliberately. And then there's bad reasons to hex someone, like having a disagreement with them on the internet, them saying something that you don't like, just differences of opinion, the fact that they rub you the wrong way and you don't really like them, things like that. Even though them getting a promoted ahead of you, like, that's just life, and that's not a reason to hex or curse someone. So that's something to consider. Another thing I would recommend considering is, what symptoms are you having in your life? Are you having trouble sleeping, depression and fatigue and anxiety and things that can't be explained by other things? Are you having a run of bad luck that's out of the normal parameters of just having a run of bad luck? Because a lot of the time, one bad thing will happen after the other, after the other, after the other. And up to a point, that's just life. Like, that's pretty normal. So if you are having a run of bad luck that you think could be connected to a hex or curse on you, I would consider whether or not it's the run of bad luck that you're having is outside of the parameters of normal. Are you having physical illness that can't be explained by just, sometimes that happens and that's life? Do you just have that creepy feeling like there's a dark cloud hovering over you and nothing you touch or nothing you do goes right? This is pretty common, and I don't think it's necessarily a case of a hex or curse from another person, but I'll get into how to deal with that later on in the video. So basically, taking all of those things into consideration, has someone told you, and somebody that would actually have the power to hex or curse you? What symptoms are you having? Have you actually done something to deserve getting cursed? And so getting on to what to do about it, if you have genuinely wronged someone, there might not be a whole lot that you can do about it. It's, that old cliched saying from the craft about when you open a floodgate, how do you undo it? It just has to run its course. That counts for, the love spell that she was talking about in that movie, obviously, but it can ring true for other types of magic as well. So if someone has hexed or cursed you, it may just need to run its course. Hopefully it's not going to end up with you being seriously hurt or dead. Like, hopefully this person would have hexed or cursed you to just teach you a lesson. So when that lesson is integrated and you've learnt it, then your life will move on. And this is not necessarily a witchcraft belief, but there's beliefs in other religions about, guilt and cleansing guilt. So when you actually realize that you've done something wrong and you feel that guilt about it and that remorse, that can be a cleansing thing that helps you resolve your karma and move forward. I could be misquoting on all of that, and I apologize, but that's just my personal opinion and my philosophy as well. So, because karma it's not necessarily what goes around comes around. That could be a part of it, but it's about your lessons and the things that your soul needs to learn in this lifetime, I guess. So that could be one possibility. Hopefully letting the curse or hex run its course is not going to seriously harm you, but if it's a less serious attack like that, people even ask about ancestral curses. Like, this is something that I've noticed more lately, is that instead of, there's this person who's a practitioner who doesn't really like me, and I think that they might have cursed or hexed me because I'm having all this bad luck and this has gone wrong and I've been sick and I've been depressed and I've been tired. I've actually seen a lot of things lately, like in my family, we tend to have a run of bad luck where we have bad luck in our love lives. We have spouses die or leave, and then, you know, there's a string of single mothers in our family. And, you know, is it an ancestral curse? There can be ancestral curses. That is a possible thing. I'm not saying that it's not, but there's also things like ancestral patterns and ancestral shadows and issues that will pass on to the next generation if they're not dealt with. So in the case where it is just an ancestral issue, you may need to just deal with it. So, you know, for example, if you do have problems in relationships, I want to make a whole video on this, but you may need to learn about recognizing the signs of a toxic relationship and noticing those red flags when you get into a relationship, and also learning skills about having a respectful and loving and supportive relationship, as opposed to like a toxic one. So like anyone else, I had some toxic relationships in my younger days, and even with my current partner, like we got together when I was 21 and he was 22. And so our relationship hasn't been a complete bed of roses the whole way through. Oh, sorry for clearing my throat. I've had a bit of a cold lately. But yeah, it could just be an issue that you have to deal with. So something to do with relationships, or even something to do with money, or you know, career, finance, that kind of thing. You may just need to be the person in your family that breaks that cycle. If someone has actually cursed your family line, again, you might just need to be the person that breaks that. Pardon me. So I'll talk about some things that could be helpful. There's any number of ways that you could, you know, break or work on dissipating a hex or curse. And really what I first recommend doing is to just, first of all, get outside help if you need to. Consult with a reputable practitioner or psychic medium, someone like that, who you know by word of mouth knows their stuff. And also just check in with yourself and check in with your guides, and, you know, sit in contemplation, just really sit with the situation and what's going on. Make the time and space to just sit with it and ask yourself what could help in this situation. So what needs to be done, and, you know, just sort of center yourself and check in like, spirit, this is what's going on for me. What do I need to do? And you could get the answers. Like I've done this before and I've received, you know, messages, and they can just come to you, you know, like any other kind of psychic impression or, you know, message would, where things just pop into your head or you just sense or feel something. And in the past I've done this, and they said, get some cacti, like buy some cactus plants and keep them outside of your home and look after them, and put your intention into them that sharp spiky energy of the cactus spikes is going to protect you. So that's one thing that I've done, and that was something that was an impression that I got once I sat with this and asked about it. And it wasn't, I don't think I was under a serious curse. I think it was just a psychic attack, which I think is pretty common. And so that really helped. And more than anything, I think it helped put me at ease and helped make me feel better about things. And I've actually had situations where I had a run-in with someone, and even people who, you know, kind of alluded to the fact that they may have sent me bad energy. And after that, one of my cactus plants died. And there's sort of this old superstition, pardon me, where they say that if a plant dies, it's absorbed some negative energy that was meant for you. So I'm totally open to the idea that that was what was going on. So moving on, check in with yourself and what you could do. Other things you could do are things like, I've made a special vinegar blend. I have done uncrossing baths. So you use some herbs that are traditionally used for uncrossing. You can even really use whatever you've got on hand. I would recommend using something like rosemary, and then just whatever herbs that you have available to you. Rue is another good one, mugwort, things like that. And what else have I used? I've used a lot of things like lavender. Lavender is also good for hex breaking because it brings you that peace. Basil I have used before as well, and just I have a lot of little herb jars from Juniper Moon Apothecary. So pretty much anything that said on the jar uncrossing or hex breaking or curse breaking, I use that in my uncrossing bath. And then you have your series of baths over 9 days, or a week, or even whatever you feel guided, or whatever is recommended to you. If you're consulting with a experienced practitioner, which I do recommend, and you could do candle work. Noah Tempestari has a really good ritual on his channel, which is just a short ritual that you use a candle for. You can use a red candle, or you could use a two-tone uncrossing or hex breaking candle. So it'll be red and black. So you could use something like that. And you could use things like black salt. You could use hot foot powders and things like that if it's wanting to get rid of a troublesome person. So there's all kinds of things you can do. You could use stones like your black tourmaline. Red jasper is another good one for bringing in strength and vitality. There's all kinds of things you can do. And personally, sigil work, all sorts of things. I personally think it doesn't matter what you do, it matters how you do it and the intention that you use. And tune in, like if it's a curse on your love life, then try to work with the phases of the moon and bring in that good energy as well as dispelling the bad energy. And in the old days, I'll just come back to talking about your love life. In the old days, losing your partner or spouse to another person or something like that could have been a matter of survival and life and death. And then later on throughout history, not just that, but a matter of social standing. Like if you were somebody that's separated from your partner, there was a stigma attached to that could have been really hard to live with. So these days that's less common. So it could be something that you want to hex or curse someone over, or it could be something that you just want to move on from. And I tend to believe that living well is the best revenge, right? Like if someone tries to destroy you and make your life hell, and they try to really tear you down and bring you down to a level that they feel is safe for them, I guess, then the best thing to do is to just move on and live your best life and throw it in their face that they have not destroyed you. They do not have that power. And just live a great life to really stick it to that person. And that's the reason why I don't hex or curse or psychically attack people commonly. It's not something that I'm against, and it's not something that I wouldn't do if I thought that there was a good reason, like any of the reasons that I previously discussed. But if it was something like if my husband decided to move on with someone else one day, it wouldn't be a matter of survival for me. So I would just move on. And we have children together too, so I have to think about that. But I don't think that I would hex or curse anyone over that. I think that I would just do my best to move on in the best way possible. And there have been people in the past that have genuinely wronged me, and I've always thought about it and just sat with it. And I've never decided to actually hex someone. I've always kind of just decided to move on with my life. So it's not that I haven't wanted to, it's just that I've always, when I've sat with it, I've decided that it's not the best course of action. Cursing, however, can be a bit more subtle, and cursing someone can be more common. Like I've even heard if somebody says, oh, screw that person, or oh, they suck, I hate them, or oh, go away, get lost. Even that could be a form of cursing. And so, you know, they call them curse words. They don't call them curse words for nothing. Like, they are actually used to curse. So little minor curses like that are pretty common, and I think the effects of them can build up over time. Like, if you consistently are subjected to things like that, it can affect you, and you need to move on, and, you know, do those hex breaking and curse breaking practices if need be. And also just surround yourself with positive people. Like, don't surround yourself with drama and negativity and negative thoughts and just people that put you down, people that don't want the best for you. Surround yourself with people that want the best for you and that genuinely care. You know, having a spiritual community can be good, but you do also need to be careful in spiritual communities, because people being spiritual and calling themselves spiritual doesn't necessarily mean that they are not toxic sometimes. I think everyone can be toxic sometimes, but some people, even in the spiritual community, can be toxic pretty persistently and consistently. So yeah, it's one of those things you have to watch out for. So I'll try to wrap this video up soon because I'm seeing that it's getting a bit long. But psychic attack is another thing that can happen. Like, somebody can just get into your head and kind of, you know, either give you dirty looks or snide remarks or what have you, and just trying to bring you down. A lot of the time this is due to jealousy or even just annoyance, or they don't like you. You know, not everybody will universally like you. They might just not like the look of your face or whatnot. But psychic attack is another thing that you may need to protect yourself from. And I do recommend using ethically sourced crystals and things like that that you can, like, keep on your person. So either a piece of jewelry or in your pocket. You know, I'm one of these people that wants every garment to have pockets. Even shirts, like I love those little shirts that have the little pocket, like those t-shirts with pockets. I should have worn one today. But yeah, so I hope that this video serves you. I hope that it makes sense. I feel like I've jumped around a lot for different topics and just come back to this and talked about that. But I hope that something here resonates with you. And what do you think? Do you think that hexing and cursing is common? Do you think that it's uncommon? Do you think that any of the methods I've recommended are effective? What have you found effective? And yeah, let's talk about this. So thanks heaps for hanging out with me, and I'll finish my coffee now and I'll see you next time.